How's it going? I'm Brasden. This is Fire Snout and Weed, a variety gaming channel named after my two sweet guinea pigs. But today, we're going to be trying out some ramen thanks to our good friend Big Baker. Yeah, I can talk. Big Baker. That's her name. All right. Today, if you didn't already see, oh, we're going to be trying Pozole. You can't even see my finger anymore. There it is. Boop. Good to go. Perfect. Yep. No editing. We don't edit here. Okay. Sorry. We have Pozole. We have Pozole. This is Pozole style ramen. If you don't know what Pozole is, you haven't been to the Southwest, right? In the States, you haven't been around that area, because you will see Pozole in a lot of areas like New Mexico. You might see it in Texas. You might even see it in Arizona. But it's not something that we typically see here on the East Coast. Very, very excited to get into it. I am very, very into Pozole. It's basically like a Mexican stew to a degree, is basically what it is. So yeah, very excited. We'll start out with the broth like we always do. And I didn't mention this, and I don't mention it in other videos typically, but it came with a little fork, man. There was a little folded up fork inside this thing. Can you believe that? Didn't even have to have a fork. They're just ready. Now I'll say the fork does bend, but that's on me. I cannot bend it that way. All right, so first thing we do is try out our broth. We'll start with that. Okay, I'm gonna take another sip. Hold on. Okay. Okay, broth. Let's go to broth first. Now, out of all the broths we tried, this one is not as creamy or smooth as some of the other broths, right? We have had like, Shin Black, which has a really creamy sauce. I've had some other ramens as well that have like a rosé sauce and things like that, where it's very, very creamy. This is definitely on the broth side. Does Pozole sit on that side? It's kind of in the middle a bit. So does it hit necessarily the broth of a Pozole? No, but the flavor is there. You're getting like your chili flavor. You're getting spice. Like I taste black pepper for sure. No question. There's black pepper in there. Um, yeah. I do taste some of your traditional like chicken ramen artificial flavor a little bit. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the Pozole, which is a chicken stew a lot of the time, right? Um, so yeah, broth not so bad. I think I would give it. We're gonna give it a 7.5. If it was a little creamier or a little bit more weight to the broth, I think we would score it higher. But I think 7.5 is pretty fair. Let's see what people in chat are saying here. 6.9. Yeah, I'm still trying to sort it out because the flavor's really good. It's just I don't know that it's necessarily giving me that Pozole kick. Give me another moment here. I think we graded it right. I think out of a Pozole flavor, it's like a 7.5 Pozole. Now, mixing it with ramen, I'm trying not to address it this way, but if you were mixing Pozole with ramen, this is what it would taste like. So that is kind of what they, were going to achieve. But yeah, I think for me, if we're going just straight up the broth, 7.5. Let's go with that. Let's settle with that. Agreed. I think the same, Squish. I think that's a good point. When it comes to something that's representing a stew, I think that broth needs to be a bit thicker. I don't care if you got to add flour to it to thicken it up at this point. Like just a little bit more would be nice, right? I'm with you there. So let's go with 7.5 there. And let's try out our noodles next. Let's see what we got here. Now, I'll be completely honest. These noodles are scaring me. They look like the noodles that we got in in the bowl noodles, the Nongshim bowl noodle. So I'm a little worried, but let's see how it works. Let's see if I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong because I love pozole. Okay, let's see how they work. Oh, okay. Wait, we got some bounce. We got bouncy noodles. That's more than the Nongshim cup or bowl noodle. It's weird. They're really thin noodles, but they are in no way soggy at all. They are kind of dense. These are kind of dense little noodles. I was a little worried, man. I don't know that I needed to be. I'll say this, man. I know you guys remember the bowl noodles, right? Especially undefined. I remember you were here for that. With bowl noodle, I could have taken a chopstick, rubbed it across the top of this fork, and all of the noodles would have chopped in half instantly. That's not happening here. Like, that's not going to happen. I have to bite through these noodles. Like, they are dense, they are bouncy, and they are thin. And I didn't think that that was possible, honestly, with a ramen. Because usually, what you get with these thin noodles is instant, just mush. Like they just turn into an instant mush that's just part of your broth eventually. These are surprisingly good noodles. Yeah, exactly, Squish. When you have a stew, you feel like it's a heavy soup. It should feel like a heavy soup. I agree. Why does the little dense noodles make me think of Bob Ross saying happy little trees? I guess it does sound like that. Dense little noodles. But yeah, I think these noodles are actually really good. The flavor on them is kind of bland, but that's okay, right? A lot of the heavy lifting comes from the broth. Now, I'll say that I do prefer the noodles from Shin, and I do prefer the noodles from Bulldog over these noodles. Does that mean these noodles aren't great? No, I would put it up right up there with them, with the exception of Bulldog has a sweeter noodle, which I really like. That's very nice. And Shin has a silkier noodle, silkier and more a larger noodle, right? Silkier and larger. So I prefer those things in quality, but I think this is going to be a solid 8. This is a solid 8 noodle. It really is. Like I was very worried when I saw them, but then they started bouncing. Yeah, still bouncy. We're still bouncy. Still good to go. It's not deteriorating from sitting here for a couple minutes. Not bad, man. Okay. Now we need to go to toppings. So, I have to say, the toppings are actually pretty good, right? Like, look how big those leaves are. You can see it. Like, that is a legitimate herb, right? Not just like you can see the veins on the actual herb. Now it's a little out of focus for you guys, but the herb is so good that you can still see the veins and everything through it, right? It's not just some little particle in your mix. And you can taste it, and it does add a texture to it. Now, do I love the taste of parsley, which is what I think this is? Nah. And that's not necessarily something I want, but I can't deny that it adds texture and flavor. I can't deny that. Like that it's doing its job, right? Could we have maybe gotten some more garnish? Yeah. But the garnish that we did get was substantial, like pretty good. Yeah. So if we're going toppings, I would put this somewhere around a 7 again. I love that you can see the ingredient. I don't know that the flavor necessarily works well with this for me. And I think it's parsley. I'm not sure. And the ingredients are just as small as the directions, so I'm not going to be able to read that easily. But yeah, yeah, I think that's a pretty fair score. Let's get our calculator out. Let's see how we did. What do you guys think? Pretty fair scores here. And then we got 8 plus 7. And divide by 3. Boop. And we got literally a 7.5. Just a completely average ramen, apparently. Yeah. Yeah. A little bit average, man. But a swing for the fence, Baker. Like, you finding Pozole in the first place is absolutely outstanding. I can't find it as a thing for me to have, like, as like a can of soup anywhere. Like, I have a Mexican grocery store right next to me, and I do not have Pozole available to me in can form or something. Like, it's just not there. Let's see. What brand was that? It is called Sila or something like that. It is called Cilo. I'm sorry, Cielo. Cilo. It's a niche flavor for sure, yeah. But the question, did it tickle the Pozole itch at all? It it reminded me of it with some of the smells, but it didn't have the weight, and honestly, the parsley kind of killed it a little bit flavor wise for me. I know it shouldn't because it's just a garnish or whatever, but like I was saying, it's a substantial garnish. So when you bite into it, you're tasting what I believe is parsley. That's not cilantro. Like I that would have actually worked well for me there, even though I don't love a ton of cilantro. But yeah, parsley for me is I just don't think it goes in anything well. And this is another example of that. Let's see. I'll take average and still yummy over something you have to spit in the bin. Agreed. Yeah, definitely not a bad thing. They have flavor, and it's not good. Wait, what? Oh, you're talking. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, yeah. About parsley. Yeah, I'm the same. Sam, I could not do parsley. But yeah, there's our score, everybody. Looks like our Pozole ramen ended up with a 7.5. I can talk. Anyways, we're gonna get going. If you want to see some of these reviews early, come over to twitch.tv/firesnoutingwheat. Also visit twitch.tv/big__baker because this wouldn't be possible without her. So thank you very much. Really appreciate you visiting today. I'll see you next time. Bye.